Whole lot of gang shit. It's a whole lot of gang shit going on. What's happening? What's cracking? It's Lady Red with another episode of Talking Out the Side of the Neck. I missed this. It's been a long 2 weeks. I'll be really busy in like the fall. This the fall, right? Or are we in the winter now? Whatever these months is, like September, October, November, are very busy months for me. Anniversaries, birthdays, so on and so forth. The summer's like that for me too. And I'm big on my boundaries, so yeah, I haven't been able to do this, but I'm happy to be back. So let's get to it. Today's episode, or this episode, is called Recognizing Choices, right? I have 2 notes that I'm gonna use to feed off with, and this is the only notes that I had gave myself, so I'm just gonna talk out. So the first note I got is understanding how your choices affect you and the people around you. So, first things first. Can y'all hear the cat galloping? First things first. In recognizing choices, you need to understand, like, the number 1 golden rule is you always have a fucking choice. Okay? Now, I am very much so aware that circumstance and context will always change how available these choices may become. I feel like I said that in a real confusing way, so I'm going to try to say it in a simple way. Sometimes you can't see your choice. Sometimes you might feel like you don't have no choice. Sometimes you might feel like pressured into a specific decision or choice. You know what I'm saying? This is why you need to be very confident in understanding how shit will affect you and the people around you. If you ever get in a situation where you feel like you don't have no choice, then you need to slow that shit down, or maybe just don't even fuck with that situation. Because you should always have a choice. That's just how I feel, bottom line. Now, boom. Once you're able to recognize the choices, like even if you have to visualize what your options are, do a little reel in your head, like, man, if I do this, it's gonna look like this. If I do like this, it's gonna do like this. How's it gonna affect you? How does it feed into your long-term goals? How does it feed into the things that you're trying to manifest? The reality you're trying to create for yourself, the type of life that you want to fucking live. You got to kind of treat every choice like that. You know what I'm saying? I've talked about intention already before. Like, intention is a big thing. If you're not intentionally making choices that feed into where you trying to fucking go, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Because I know if you don't make it to your destination, you're gonna be able to blame a bunch of people, right? Like, you're gonna be able to point your finger at Wooty Whoop and Wooty Whoop and Wooty Whoop and be like, hey man, them motherfuckers just wasn't there for me. Them motherfuckers didn't do what I needed. Them niggas didn't support me when I was down. And so this is what it is. But no, because you're responsible for figuring out and knowing that if you decide to do any specific whoop, this what's gonna come with it. And if you know what's gonna come with it, you have to gauge whether or not you can deal with that. Is that a reality you want to live in? Do you? You know? You got to really think about that. And depending on the type of choice it is, it's not just about you. Your choice might affect other motherfuckers around you. And if it affects other motherfuckers around you, then that's another layer to this shit. Do you want to deal with the consequences of how it affects the motherfuckers around you? Like, so I think that's something we need to really genuinely consider and think about. Like, all of this, like, sporadic, just like out of the blue behavior, and just like, oh, fuck that, I'm gonna do this today. Oh, fuck that, I'm quitting my job today. Oh, fuck that. Like, these irrational ass, split decision ass choices. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are a fully secure, confident, self-loving, self-disciplined person in your own right, don't let nobody tell you what that looked like for you, but in your own right, and you feel that you can make split decisions, not really think about the consequences, don't care about what the consequences are, or whatever, and either way, there's gonna be some benefit, or you know what I'm saying? You do you, boo boo. Please, by all means. With healing and trying to be owner of self, trying to make it to the highest level of yourself. We have to be very conscious of doing things to our benefit. Now, that does not mean to be greedy or overly selfish. I believe there's some healthy selfishness. We can talk about that later. But, not overly not that toxic type of selfishness. You know what I'm saying? None of that. So I'm going to leave that like that. Now, being mindful of other people's baggage. That's the second note that I wrote for this. Mindful of other people's baggage. If you have to make a choice that involves somebody else. Now, this is not the same thing as like making a choice and it's going to affect people around you. I more so mean like you need this person with you to accomplish this. This person is a part of this process to accomplish this. Now, if it's that type of situation, if it's that type of choice, be mindful of the motherfucker you making the choice with. Be mindful. Do you feel secure about that person contributing to your consequences? To your consequences. I mean, because if you don't feel secure about it, I don't know. I feel like any little lapse of insecurity that comes in a choice, well, not any, because I don't know about that one. See, now I feel split on that one, right? Because now I feel like, for one, insecurity is just a part of the process sometimes, especially if you're traveling into new territory and shit, the way all the societal and social pressure we put on ourselves and others. So that's part of it, right? But on the flip side, like if you got like so much insecurity that you're struggling to make the choice that person might want you to make, then it's gonna be a no for me, dog. It's gonna be a no. Nah. And we gotta be like okay with kind of standing our ground on that. I'm going to talk about boundaries eventually. Yeah, I'm going to talk about some boundaries soon. But it's okay to stand to your boundaries. It's okay to tell a motherfucker no. And anybody that get mad at your choice, like, learn how to handle that gracefully. I'll just say that. Learn how to handle it gracefully. If somebody get mad about the decision you make, you don't have to get mad back. Like, you don't have to share in the same emotions that the next motherfucker's sharing. Just because they're sharing the emotion. They can share the emotion with you, and you could also easily be like, oh, okay. I receive that. I hear that. You have a right to your own personal opinion. Some shit like that. I don't know. I really don't like that phrase, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I feel like that's way too sarcastic. And depending on the context, it might not be appropriate. It might actually be offensive. So I think we should be wary of like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. You see how I just said it? Like, because that's what it sounds like to me when people like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, it just sounds super sassy. Like, oh, okay, so you want to talk about mamas. Like, that's how it feels. I don't like that shit. If you're ever in a situation and you can't identify the choice, slow the shit down or evacuate. Be mindful of how your choices are going to affect people around you as well as yourself. And be mindful of the people that are involved in your choice. All of these things are important. If we are owning ourselves, loving ourselves, and trying to manifest the reality that we want, then we have to be in charge. We have to be in charge of our life. I think it's a really scary way to live, to give the power of your life and being to somebody else. Like, no one should be able to care for you better than you type shit. I don't think this society teaches us that in like particularly that like, hey, maybe, you know, I should know my health very well. Like I should know my body so well that, you know, I understand what it might need. I don't need the doctor to tell me what my body needs. My body told me what it needed. You know what I'm saying? My spirit told me it needed rest. Like, you know, like we have to try to get in tune with ourselves in that way. And that requires like some isolation, some boundaries, some learning, developing new behaviors, shit like that, new habits. That's what I want to say, habits. Um, and we got to have space and stuff to do that. And the way we create space to do that is in our choices, our everyday choices that we make when we get up, when we interact with our environment, interact with people. What choices are you making? How are you choosing to present yourself? And are you okay with the consequence of that presentation? And as I've said previously, there is no right or wrong. What works best for you? Like, that's all that has to be taken into consideration. Now, I'm not telling you to be so insecure with your choices or to be thinking so hard with your choices that you don't never make a choice. That's not what I'm getting at. That's not the purpose here at all. I'm trying to tell you that we have to learn how to master that process. Take control of the process. Command the process. Take as much time as you need, but be reasonable. And it's really hard because, you know, freedom is a learned behavior. And it's really hard for us to understand how to do these type of things because we also don't really see them a lot. There's a lot of mimicking going on. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, man, it's like duplicates. Everybody's a clone. Dress the same, walk the same, listen to the same music, have the same preferences, woo-doo-woo. To a certain degree, that is, you know, something that could happen when people are living and being around each other. But on the other hand of it, since we are living in this psychological warfare, we have to also remember that it's not on accident. It's not on accident that this many people identify with this specific thing. It's not an accident. So with that, it's okay to leave the mode. It's okay to leave the pack. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of motherfuckers jumping off the bridge. You don't gotta jump. You don't gotta jump. Yeah, it's a hard feat. It's easier said than done. I'll say that. Depending on, like, you know, what you got going on. Keep your context into consideration because I don't know your context. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know how easy or hard these processes could be for you. So you have to fine tune it to yourself. Be equitable. That's mostly what I wanted to say. Side note, keep in mind that whether it is technology, science, socialism, health, whatever you want to put in my bubble, because I be forgetting all the little different shits. If it's coming from the oppressor, it will not be to your benefit. It's not supposed to be to your benefit. And that doesn't mean that, you know, your oppressor is just so fucking evil and there's just so much malicious behavior going on that, you know, they're always plotting on our downfall and trying to kill us. Low key they is. But it's just that, you know, keeping that in the back of your mind, because that's a part of your choices. That's a part of your decision making. And so when you keep that in the back of your mind, it helps you make better decisions, be more informed in your process. An easy example could be like, oh, I want to take a class and I'm going to take an English class, right? So going into that English class, you should already know like the type of materials that you're going to be subjected to. And you just got to try to understand like how it's going to work in your benefit. And if you don't feel like it's going to work in your benefit, don't take the class. Don't take it. It's not that deep. You ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. That needs to be the mantra. That would be my mantra for today. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. You don't owe any explanations. How you move is for you. And that's okay. Just because you don't see other people doing it doesn't mean you can't. That's all. That's all. That's it. I'm done. I'm about to split. All right, y'all. Wishing you guys love and light. Be easy, stay breezy. Don't get kidnapped by no white peasies.